It seems that reports of my survival have been greatly exaggerated.
This isn't possible.
Oh, I assure you, it is. How? Not how. Why? You were never meant to come here.
We have our orders. Leave the city, radio command from outside the storm wall. They send in the cavalry, we go home.
Hello there, Sir from 17 once again. This is my Spec Ops The Line FUBAR Difficulty video walkthrough. This is Chapter 8, The Gate. I'm carrying a 417 and a saw, and we're moving through another interesting looking environment. This gets kind of convoluted kind of fast, and there is a choice here to kill the people downstairs or to go through with your gun. And I believe the safest way on this difficulty is the one you're about to see, where we guide in the white phosphorus. The only problem is this has a repercussion which is quite important in the story, so look forward to that. And I do apologise if there's any noise on the mic, guys. Our next door neighbours breed like rabbits. They come from Eastern Europe, and unfortunately they adhere to every xenophobic stereotype you could physically want. It's just like it's like Mary Poppins' bag, and people just keep on coming out every single time there's more people, and they're making a shit ton of noise. And I assume it's because they've taken the carpets up to knit some kind of garments or tribal raiments to dance around in their heretic ways, but I have absolutely no idea. And it's really frustrating, because either that or they're wearing pit shoes, because I've never heard footfall sound so loud. And these are children, mind you, like fucking 5-year-olds, and they sound like Paul Bunyan next door, chopping trees down. It's ridiculous. But just absolute madness. Screaming. Yeah, it literally sounds like I'm sat experiencing a rape through a wall, but I know it's children playing, and I don't know if they come from a war-torn country that's used to, you know, dead children when they play, but it sounds a lot more violent than our fucking games used to be. Anyhow, this is an interesting section in the game, and you don't even have to shoot anywhere near this building at the end to hit it, because it's part of the story and it's part of one of the twists. And I do think you can do this area differently. I just couldn't be bothered to try on FUBAR, because I looked at it like this. There's a lot of soldiers down there, and if you're going to fight them with your gun, it's going to take forever. But if you do this, you get rid of them all, you get a nice guilt trip, but you get through the game a little bit faster than you normally would. So I think that's a good thing. I think that's the greater of two evils, even though we are being extremely evil. And I'm cool with that. But now we've done it, we get to walk through the white phosphorescence, or it's called white phosphorus, I think they say on this game. And you get to see the destruction that it's wrought. And this is another sequence that's really evocative, because it looks great. It's got awesome effects going on. Lots of particles, you know, lots of shaders, just really fun stuff. And the best part is you don't have to kill anyone. I mean, you can if you want, you can put them out of misery, but I just cruise through. It kind of reminds me of Terminator 2, where Sarah Connor's completely terrified and having that nightmare of LA being turned into just a wasteland of heat waves that knock over palm trees and take out buildings and, you know, turn children into petrified statues. But we're going to be moving forward towards this so-called gate, but in this it's like I don't know what kind of building it is, but they have the height advantage on pushing up the hill, and it's definitely against you. But it's one of those things where if you play it smart, if you use your cover, keep on popping dudes, you will have no trouble whatsoever. Because I don't even remember this section, it was that simple. But here we go to one of the troopers, and he asks you why you did what you did. And unfortunately, collateral damage is a major part of these kind of wars, these kind of incursions and conflicts, and, you know, that's exactly what just happened. But there's your checkpoint, keep on pushing forward. This is literally another first-person shooting section. I say first-person, I mean third-person, sorry. It's going to be a ton of guys, awkward positions. The hardest part is when you get inside the building, there's a balcony that you're going to be shooting over, and there's a ton of dudes. But just try and keep your team alive. Don't rely on them at all, because they can be absolutely useful at times. Other times they can be really good. It's one of those things where sometimes the AI will just fuck you and it sucks, but hopefully you'll not have too much of an issue with it. Never stay out of cover too long, you'll just get nailed. And just keep peppering folk. Headshots, you know, tap the trigger, don't hold it. Pretty standard stuff at this point. You've been playing the game for a while. I assume you know how to play now, and I assume you're comfortable with it. It's just a case of being patient and never ever rush forward or move out of cover Unless you know everyone is dead, because you will be dead if they aren't. It is that simple. But I've got a couple of different rentals from Love Film at this moment in time that I'm probably going to do balls deeps with, because there's nothing else worth doing with them. One of them is called Battleship, and it looks terrible, but it looks like that kind of terrible that might be quite fun, so I'm going to show you some of that. And the other one is a Dragon Ball Z game. I think it's Dragon Ball Z Ultimate Tenkaichi or something silly like that. It's essentially a high-definition collection of the older Tenkaichi games, Budokai or whatever they used to call them. And I never played those games because I played, you know, GT Final Bout and Ultimate Battle 22. They were PlayStation Dragon Ball Z games, because that's when I was really deep into the DBZ universe. And don't get me wrong, those games were okay, they were fun, but they weren't, you know, the best games mechanically or anything at the time. And I don't think we know how to make a good Dragon Ball Z game, because I don't think a beat-em-up is where this game deserves to be. And don't get me wrong, the beat-em-ups that they've made are perfectly fine, they're passable. You know, they've got the visual style nailed, they've got pretty much everything about the game except for how fun it is to play nailed down. And I was talking to a buddy of mine the other day, and we were pretty much saying, you know, what we would do to make these kind of games a good game. And we always do this, and I implore you to do the same. Think of an anime that you like, and what kind of game would you say would bring out the best in that game in today's day and age? And the one that always shines through for me is the same, because it stems from the love of something that I used to play and a lack of it in the current generation of consoles. And the one for me is simple. Things like Dragon Ball Z, things like Gundam Wing or the Gundam Universe or any of those kind of animes, even things like Outlaw Star, Cowboy Bebop. I think all of those games would make fantastic Japanese RPGs if they were done correctly. And when I mean done correctly, I mean really done well. Done like the games that you remember with reverence rather than hatred. I'm talking Final Fantasy VII levels and things like that, because when you think about those kind of games, all they are is you collecting a band of characters and traversing a story that takes you to several colourful different locations, several different crises that end in extremely spectacular and bizarre final bosses. And the focus of those games are on exploring a universe, they're exploring characters, they're about equipping your characters, they're about, you know, meeting people, and they're about bosses and crazy encounters and crazy enemies and all those things that make JRPGs great. And I think games like Dragon Ball Z would make a fantastic type of RPG, and a lot of people probably think, well, that doesn't even make any sense, how would that work? But just think how many characters there are in that universe and how many of them are cool. And then imagine a game like Suikoden, as I pronounce it. Everyone will have their own pronunciation for it, but that is a game where you can recruit up to 108 people in that game, and they all work towards the central plot of the title, and you get to pick who your team is. And it would be no different with those anime characters. Like, just imagine, say Star Ocean, the game, the most recent one on the Xbox and what have you. That has one of the worst stories, the worst, you know, characterization, the worst interaction between a team of people in any game I've probably played. It is fucking horrible. It truly is. But the combat and the exploration and, you know, the equipment, the armor, the battle system, the bosses, the actual playing the game part is stellar. Sure, it's not up there with the best exploration in an RPG, and it's not up there with the best, you know, like discovering aspect of RPGs, but it's still a massive leap above a lot of things. It's everything else where that title falls down. Now, imagine that translated into something well written and well delivered. Imagine a Cowboy Bebop that's akin to Mass Effect 2, but the difference is, instead of it being a third-person shooter, it's got a turn-based RPG-style action system in it. You've got your ship, you go out across the universe to all, you know, these different planets that are full of vagabonds, that are full of thieves, and, you know, and the kind of the space fleet versus the rebels type deals, and terrorists and pirates and bounties and all sorts of stuff. Recruiting your own team, going on their personal missions, side quests, you know. These universes and these different animation series have got such a rich and well developed, you know, piece of fiction canon that could easily be implemented to make these kind of games. And I know a lot of people probably think that the time for JRPGs and the turn-based combat is kind of passed us by to this more modern, you know, everything active, everything action, you know, everything simplified, taking away the control, taking away the complexity and making it more user-friendly. Well, personally I say fuck that, because I wanted it more complicated, and I don't understand how we have all this technology and we're making these fucking press A to win games. It just doesn't make any sense when you have these PS1 classics that I'm playing at this moment in time, and I'm going to be playing and sharing on my channel, that are infinitely more complex than anything that's come out now, and I was playing them when I was a kid and still figuring them out. And it just has to do with the fact that the industry thinks we're all fucking morons, and, you know, they want money. But thank you for watching anyhow, guys, and I'll see you in the next one. You take care now.